A decade after the fires started, Jimmy Carter stepped out of his limousine and into a ghost town. Most of the handsome 5- and 6-story apartment buildings were completely gone. What buildings were still standing had been gutted by flames, home only to rodents and roving dogs and occasional junkie or squatter or homeless family. And everywhere Carter looked, there were piles of rubble and whatever trash people hadn't bothered to haul to the scrapyard. Smashed up televisions, wheelless roller skates, cracked bathtubs. Neighborhood kids did an admirable job of making use of the mess, turning mattresses into trampolines and landing pads, scavenging electrical parts for homemade sound systems from burnt out cars. You know that nice park in the South Bronx, a character in Grace Paley's short story Somewhere Else asks? We have some film if you ever want to see. The block is burning down on one side of the street, and the kids are trying to build something on the other side. Just a week later, the Yankees hosted the Los Angeles Dodgers in the second game of the World Series. An hour before the first pitch, an abandoned Bronx schoolhouse, just a few blocks past the right field bleachers at Yankee Stadium, caught fire. With an icy October wind whipping the flames, 60 million viewers were treated to their first glimpse of a roaring Bronx cookout. And with the budget cut, Bronx fire companies too busy fighting other fires to respond to the second alarm, the fire only seemed to grow as cameras cut back to it 4 times throughout the game. It's a popular misconception born in those pre-YouTube days that broadcaster Howard Cosell had said, "There it is, ladies and gentlemen, the Bronx is burning." It's probably a mix-up with a BBC documentary called The Bronx is Burning that came out around the same time. I watched all the DVDs of the series and I never heard him say it, and then started making phone calls, including to the people who were in the booth with him. Keith Jackson, who you might know from famous 1980s, 90s, 70s college football announcer. I got a call in the middle of South Dakota one day. Picked up the phone to a scratchy, "Hello, Joe, this is Keith Jackson," and expected him to introduce Bo Jackson as the running back for Auburn or something as he was talking to me. But he told me, he said, I never heard him say it, talking about Cosell and the Bronx is burning line. But Howard grew up in New York, and it was exactly the kind of thing Howard would say. And I think that's why it stuck. He had a way of capturing the moment like that. And this was hardly the only popular misconception about the Bronx and the fires and what was going on at the time, though. The South Bronx had grown quite large at this point. But little mistakes like that hardly mattered. It was the mistakes that caused those fires in the first place, and the huge misunderstanding around them that were the real danger.